Hello once again. Uh, I can see a lot of people have already joined. So I guess we would start now. So welcome to today's webinar. As you know, the topic is RPA COE for your digital transformation. Great to see you all here. I hope everyone is doing fine and is safe at home along with all your family members. I would like to thank each one of you for making time to participate in this webinar today. My name is Manish Baheti. I head the delivery team for automation practice here at SOIS. And I'm really excited to be hosting this session today. As you know, the topic is RPA COE for your digital transformation. The use of robotic process automation, popularly known as RPA, is expanding rapidly across industries and geographies. While many organizations may initially view RPA as a simple automation tool or a short-term fix, but it can be the catalyst for greater change as part of a broader digital transformation strategy. Uh, Now I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Satyajit Banerjee. Satyajit is working as solutions architect in SOIS. Satyajit has more than 15 years of experience and proven expertise in the domain. He had earlier worked in organizations like Infosys, Hewlett Packard, and UiPath. He has also served as an RPA evangelist at multiple global forums in India, Sri Lanka, USA, Singapore, and Malaysia. Before I hand over the mic to Satyajit, just want to let you all know a couple of things about today's session. First is we are recording today's webinar and it will be made available to you in 2-3 days time. And next, we would love to hear from you during today's presentation. If you have any question for our speaker, please feel free to send it through the Q&A section, which is available at the bottom of your player. We will be answering your questions at the end of the session. If we don't get to your question during today's session, we will be sure to follow up afterwards. And last, we would like to encourage you to share the recorded webinar with your friends and colleagues once it is made available to you. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Satyajit. Satyajit, over to you.
Thank you very much, Manish. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to people joining in from everywhere around the globe. Um, we would get started very quickly without the haste. I'm Satrajit, work as a solution architect with SWICE, and today's agenda would be RPA with its benefits and areas of application. Why would we want to look at RPA as a part of digital transformation? And what needs are to be considered in this journey of automation that an organization would look at? Roadblocks which are faced and which can be overcome uh, is something that we are going to be discussing. Definitely, and how to overcome them is going to be a few of the topics that we would be discussing. We welcome questions, like Manish said, and we would love to reach out to you all as well and discuss them to see how best we can help you with so providing you with solutions that might actually help. So, getting started, RPA and its benefits. Well, before even we get started, uh, we would just want to know that there are six factors to plan for RPA as a part of digital transformation itself. So, even if we look at it, and even if we look at its benefits, there could be benefits in terms of maintaining logs for every steps, the 24 bar 7 virtual employee, where of course we human beings would need to get back home to certain tasks. But RPA can actually help overcome all those for you with ease, because these robots can work both during or even out of office hours. So we would have robots that would run in and as an attended or digital assistant for individuals, or it can also work out of office hours or during office hours without human interventions. The robots that we are talking about are all software robots. These are not physical bots that can hug you or shake your hands. These require trigger points. and they just start performing at several x's. So several x's could be depending upon the kind of processes and the applications, of course, underlying in between. Mimics human tasks on existing applications. Well, when we talk about this aspect of saying that the technology is non-invasive, we also want to talk about all the repetitive, mundane, and menial tasks that are taken care of by the robots by sitting on top of the present ERP or CRM tools or different applications that sit in disparate systems. And nevertheless, this does not require you to make any changes to your present infrastructure. When we say no changes, you may have to have a few basic changes to set up your COE. However, no real changes to your infrastructure is required to a great extent. The robots just sit on top of the applications and have them working. Uh, when we talk about the benefits by adoption maturity, well, this goes into different stages of maturity. Different organizations who are the early adopters would look at reduction of manual work and errors with faster processing and enhanced audits that they would look at. When it comes to adopters who have adopted RPA in the first stage, they would want to look at what more can be achieved from RPA, would look at improved regulatory compliances, look at staff retention due to redeployment to value added work. This is something that we are going to discuss as a part of our slide and presentation as well throughout. And the last or the final level is in terms of when we talk about significant headcount freed up, most people or most businesses tend to think about, well, are we going to be losing our jobs? Not really. How many jobs were lost after computer was introduced, right? So very similarly, we would still require business owners to take critical decisions that a robot cannot do, because we are blessed with brains that the robots are not. What we do is we design the brains of the robot, and the robots only go about executing what the robots have been trying to be executing. And enormous business value. Definitely, of course, nobody today would want to go about executing the same menial repetitive tasks and do them slowly when other organizations would scale up the ladder. So very quickly, when we look at RPA, we talk about RPA being industry agnostic and business function agnostic. So when we talk about RPA being industry and uh, business function agnostic, we mean to say RPA can be used almost in any industry. When we say any industry, it could be healthcare industries, could be telecom industries, could be financial services, could be insurance industries, could be so many others. And also, when we look at business functions, we might have business functions. F&A usually is a backbone of any organization because everything boils down to money. So having FNA could be one of the business functions. You could have HR being the other business function. Supply chain management, of course, we always think about plan, build, and deliver. That's what rings bells, right? When we think about supply chain management. And definitely, of course, customer services, because customer services, we've I would want to perhaps spend a little time when I talk about customer services as well, because not only that we talk about menial repetitive tasks, but we also look at overall operational excellence as well as employee, as well as customer satisfaction. Because at the end of the day, we all land up in customer shoes for our business requirements at times. Could be banking, could be our insurance requirements, could be so many other e-commerce related requirements or so many other applications that we may have. And we end up speaking to a contact center agent at times. I'm just taking this example where the contact center agent most often is overwhelmed in terms of entering details that we we provide to them. And instead, what they do is they are not able to spend enough quality or value added times to gather more information out of an individual to assist in getting the exact query answered. So in those areas, RPA plays a major role where you just go about putting the input uh, and handing that over to the robot. And depending upon the kind of engagement that a robot or a robot human would actually have, could work in tandem or could work in a hybrid methodology and execute tasks. So that's a little bit in terms of areas of application. However, still the question would remain, where exactly or what exactly can the robots do? We would want to take care of the processes when we talk about low hanging fruits in the first place, in terms of POCs or pilot processes. We would look at low hanging fruits where the processes have a lot of reporting involved in it. Could be alerts or notification running out of each of these processes. Migration as well is an important factor uh, that actually contributes to it in terms of RPA. Validation, of course, because when we talk about our finances, we would want to look at financial records, reconciliation processes, as well as order matching, where we have three-way match processes which can take place. Calculations, of course, if these are simple calculations that require no brainer at all, we know the source, we know where exactly what data needs to be entered and what calculations need to be made, and what further in sheets or what further applications need to be populated in terms of field level information, is definitely what the robots can do uh, in each of these industries as well as business processes. That's how we would break it down to. In terms of why RPA in digital transformation, well, six factors to plan for RPA as a part of digital transformation is a part to allure of RPA is the ease with which automation may be implemented, first of all. So the top RPA providers offer some simple solutions designed to get someone with a few hours of training and limited or no development experience that can be automated in a basic daily task. However, that's the simplest flavor of RPA, according to me. As with any other aspects of digital transformation, IT leaders need a broader plan for RPA's role issues to address, including such as strategic alignment, where while setting up an RPA program, it is important to align program objectives with the overall digital transformation strategy. For example, if improving customer experience is a transformational focus for an enterprise, it is important to prioritize the RPA opportunities that impact customer experience. So I would say keeping the RPA program aligned with the digital transformation imperatives can help provide the appropriate executive focus and resources to scale. Definitely, after strategic alignment would come in governance, as RPA interests within the enterprise grows. The IT leaders must plan for scaling these automation initiatives with the context of the digital transformation journey. We have seen enterprises struggle with scaling. They tend to achieve early limited success with a few dozen of bots, but struggle to get the large amount impactful scale. And uh, there have been a lot of intelligent automation hypes to which show that it's very easy to scale, but actually requires proper governance and strategy for supporting large software bot fleets, according to the Wagner reports as well that have made to the headlines earlier. System and process stability. RPA works best in a stable process and a system environment. When we talk about that, we mean to say application changes can sometimes make the RPA deployment redundant. it is important that enterprises assesses the RPA viability in the context of their overall digital transformation roadmap and avoid systems and processes that are going through significant near-term transformation. When it comes to the organizational change management, we definitely look at a lot of changes in human behaviors. Let's say, for example, lack of proper change management planning and execution is one of the most common reasons RPA deployments fail. RPA and intelligent RPA can very, I mean, can enable almost um, uh, approaches to working for employees who have done their jobs in a certain way over a certain period of time. So that behavioral change is something that we would need to adopt to. Well-defined success metrics, very important factor. It is critical to define the and quantify the benefits expected from an RPA deployment and measure and report achievements. So without appropriate measures of success, enterprises stand the risk of creating false expectations and underwhelming the stakeholders as well. That is what I would think overall from my experience of RPA deployments. And dedicated focus, definitely, of course, RPA programs should not be an afterthought or aside from digital transformation to ensure success. RPA initiatives require skilled resources, a robust governance model, and controls frameworks, and well defined deployment and production management processes. These capabilities take time, effort, and focus to develop and should be carefully accounted for while planning a digital transformation strategy. A well-defined and disciplined RPA governance model with regular steering committee meetings is one way to ensure that a sustained support and focus is maintained on the journey itself. So, what needs to be considered in RPA journey? Um, when it comes to RPA journey, so it's not a one-time installation, right? When it comes to RPA journey, there are several factors and several stages that we would want to look at RPA journey being adopted. So quite similar to the software development cycle, RPA or process automation is a strategic approach to automation. It requires thorough planning, defining timelines, managing resources, understanding compliances, and a lot more. That is why RPA is considered as a journey, which comprises of 4 steps of its successful implementation. This post discusses different stages of RPA implementation, which highlights the steps to synchronize and harmonize the resources to bring the desired results. Let's discuss as RPA cycle in detail. So when we look at the business processes, we also think about business process re-engineering, stakeholder management, and technology adoption, which I was talking about a little while earlier. Behavioral as well as technology adoption is something we humans are not very open to, but then has to be considered for value-driven work than menial and repetitive tasks that overwhelm us. So getting into stage one, creating a proof of concept. So this step gives a hint that if the solution to be implemented is technically feasible or not. It enables organizations to shortlist tools, technologies, vendors, and controls to understand the right practices for execution. The phase helps to understand which tool should be considered for automation. Should we have an in-house team or choose an external vendor? Whether or what kind of infrastructure will work best for the solution, what are the rules and regulations that we need to comply with. Nevertheless, do we need an automation tool or a scripting language will work? Definitely, these are questions that lure in people's minds before they get into the proof of concept scenario, and that's where they get an idea of how RPA works. And those are the questions that get answered. So these are some of, the primary phase of the RPA implementation questions. This basically a SWOT analysis wherein an organization examines its strengths and weaknesses in the execution of a process and discovers external opportunities and threats. For example, a company can check if they actually need to invest in commercial automation, like one of the vendors of RPA. When I say one of the vendors, could be any of the leading RPA providers or original equipment manufacturers. And they could also take a look at the free or the community versions that are offered through the tool. Once the tool and processes are acknowledged, a cost and benefit analysis should be performed to calculate the expected ROI from automation. For this, you can count on some of the factors like the duration of the RPA implementation, examining if any cost-effective technology exists as a substitute for RPA, or how much profit does the process to be automated will bring. On calculating these factors, organizations can switch to the phase two of RPA implementation itself. So RPA, when we talk about RPA implementation itself, when we talk about a pilot project is the first project that we would have finally tested and moved it into production after doing all the UAT and moving it from hypercare to that is continuous monitoring to a full-fledged deployment. So just like we create a minimum viable product in software development, we should run a pilot project for RPA implementation, which includes building a small end-to-end solution on production. Such practices inform about risks or mismanagement at the initial stage, saving organizations from meeting the objectives. In this stage, internal and external stakeholders are also involved who are surveyed for feedback. The input thus received lay down the basis for the documentation improvement requirements, areas of risk, and helps to revise the methodology and framework to build a stronger solution. While running the pilot project, an organization has the chance to analyze the potential of the RPA partner, test the scripts, bot functioning, and see the solution design. These running a pilot project is a significant and inevitable part to robotic process automation itself. Third stage would actually boil down to bot monitoring and dry run, where one of the crucial stages of the RPA implementation journey is bot monitoring once it is ready to get on production. So during the RPA project implementation, it is important to review the bot for its functionality, check if the login notification mechanisms are effective. Successful implementation at this stage pretty much showcase the potential of RPA to a broader business audience. Also, before the bot starts to operate on production, the support and maintenance team should be active to handle any abrupt behavior of the bot that the big business might actually come in or might actually face. So those are a few factors that are to be kept in mind. And nevertheless comes the final stage of final deployment, where after a successful execution from the first three phases, the final output is likely to be positive. And by this time, the bot should have complied with standards and organizational regulations, ensuring that automation does not impact any functionalities in the topology itself. So scaling beyond that in terms of RP adoption, people redeployment to ensure that the resources who were doing these menial tasks pretty much are redeployed in doing value-added activities where they go about helping the businesses with the automation journey is something which is very important. What is also very important when we talk about people redeployment and run and maintain bots is to ensure that before we actually automate certain processes, it is mandatory to find out which part of the process is value adding and which part is a waste. So process re-engineering definitely is a very important factor, because we would want to automate and we would want to grow up the ladder and scale as well. But we do not want to automate waste, because that is not what would drive value into one's business. So that's the idea behind and what needs to be considered in an RPA journey in a nutshell. Well, when it comes to roadblocks faced, there could be certain challenges faced by organizations. Now, uh, many of them might actually face organizational challenges in different which forms. Otherwise, when we talk about, I mean, we can quickly talk about implementing RPA into an industry which could help digitize labor using machine intelligence, capitalize on engagement, create big data, manage social media, and solve mobile technology issues as well as cloud computing issues that your industry might struggle with. But implementing RPA into your industry or specific company might sound ideal. And in many ways, it is RPA that can actually help employees in your organization to configure computer software or a robot to capture and interpret existing applications to help manufacture, transfigure, and also analyze data. So that sounds perfect, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's not as it sounds to implement RPA functions into your organization. There are dozens of challenges that go hand in hand with the deciding implementation of RPA. So, what a few of the certain challenges that organizations look at are process analysis issues, where RPA implementation is one of those interesting special programs where the demand for the support from leadership and the working team are both required. Not only does this build on the concept and also believe in the concept. So how do you solve? We suggest taking a different approach when dealing with process analysis issues. So instead of making so how it can benefit and get a better grasp on why RPA is a good choice company is something which is very important to be brought up. Because it requires or should require approval starting up. It should run through all the company's major departments, ranging from investor groups to operation flow leads to finance to management. I mean, you name it. Processes that will be affected by the RPA should be considered in the RPA implementation processes. When it comes to RPA development, it's quite possible that when choosing to implement RPA, you will you will want something custom developed specifically for your business. But herein lies the problem. So RPA development is quite unique and niche skills that isn't quite readily available in the market. So working with a productive, efficient RPA team cannot be incredibly difficult to track down, but also quite expensive. So a design team is often missing in many organizations that are looking from RPA but working with professionals to quite critical to a successful RPA implementation. Mismanagement of responsibilities. Well, implementing RPA is ultimately going to be a beneficial move for your company, But about the implementation process, um, they're sure to be unfortunate, but inevitable mismanagement of most new responsibilities who is managing what the RPA will handle, and how each employee will be involved with the RPA implementation process itself. Lack of help from local team. This can be one of the biggest issues when implementing RPA in your company. If you lack an appropriate, well-versed, and helpful team uh, that is centrally located, implementing your RPA correctly can be much more difficult otherwise. Having a well-staffed and knowledgeable local team on hand to help you with RPA journey is what one would look in terms to expedite your implementation process. Desirable but not economical. Well, it's true to most RPAs, that is RPA deployments that we are talking about, and can help your processes improve by up to 70 to 80% without any great difficulty. However, the better the RPA is, typically the more expensive the RPA and the process it will take to automate these processes. For example, automating a process completely may end up being more or 5 times the normal expense of your normal non-automated process. It will take process redesign, which will cost money, training employees to run the RPA process, which will cost time and money, and operating not always the most economical choice, but then initial this is a one-time investment that one would make, because anything beyond that would be something that would be driven by the robots, and most organizations will be most happy to spend in order to ensure that these move on for a larger period of time. Maintenance of your RPA. This technically is the phase that comes after you've implemented your RPA, but we believe it still counts as one of the challenges you face during your first few months of RPA implementation. Maintenance is key when it comes to keeping your RPA up and running, as well as maintaining the efficiency it was put there to provide in the first place itself. So if you're not establishing a regularly scheduled maintenance protocol, you'll find immediate issues with your RPA that might be reoccurring. Picking the wrong RPA, this is the most common issue when dealing with RPA, because it's typically the implementation phase when the leaders realize that they've picked the wrong RPA for their business. Whether the RPA is too complex, doesn't do the custom job that's needed, or simply too costly. This is typically the point where companies discover that RPA that they've chosen might not be the right fit. So even choosing this is very important in the initial stage itself. Infrastructure issues when implementing an RPA. One of the biggest issues and challenges that you'll face will deal directly with infrastructure. Not only will it be difficult at first for everyone to get on board, but it will also be complicated for your company or organization, which doesn't have interconnected systems that keeps cloud or on-premise infrastructure updated in real time. It's important when implementing RPA that your organization has a centralized infrastructure team that is helping to expedite the implementation process. Post-implementation adoption, it's relatively normal to see some pushback when implementing RPA. Often employees will see how RPA can automate some of their efforts and likely fear for their personal tasks or positions altogether RPA, which the way it's supposed to, when the leadership in your organization helps your employees to understand RPA and can benefit, provided opportunities for entrepreneurship and make their lives easier overall. So that's another aspect that we would want to look at. So scaling initiatives would definitely be a part of that aspect itself, and that is the key to the journey ahead. So, how do we overcome most of these challenges that we face? Now that we've spoken about the challenges, overcoming them is also very important. So, there are a few pointers that we've actually had over here in terms of strategy and vision, operating model, governance, everything that flows in. But then, what exactly drives this factor in, or how to overcome RPA challenges? So, after um, one of the most known or how to overcome challenges as well, we have drafted the solutions so that you can always read through obstacles and solutions both in place of RPA implementation, which takes place over proper planning. It is some competitive benefit as well. For example, if you give full power to RPA, then you will have an added advantage for sure. There is no point taking a pushback or setting up a new process and infrastructure. Also, when we like to state that despite the above mentioned challenges and difficulties, RPA implementation is the easiest task in the latest technology. The deployment of robotic process automation is also very easy. The companies definitely are choosing RPA solutions because they know how to overcome RPA challenges easily because of the factors mentioned above. And they consider employees' resistance and onboarding as well. Their fears in terms of infrastructure issues, business activities, organizational restructuring, and latest applications. I mean, there could be so many other factors which could turn out to be certain challenges. But as per certain reports that we've had, RPA is one of the favorite tools of an enterprise in this generation, where they can rapidly choose RPA solutions despite being aware of their hurdles. They know that it will provide a huge growth in their businesses and also help their employees to achieve more in their futures. Also, it will help them in organizing their future with RPA solutions. So companies are now choosing the right processes for their business as well as to secure their futures and to save money as well. So this is now helping businesses in their daily activities as they are understanding the use of attended as well as unattended bots, which I brought in the first place of the discussion itself. They know the robotic process automation solutions that it would not grab away their opportunities, but build more opportunities as businesses scale further. So this, having said this, this is pretty much what we have to present today. However, looking to ways of mitigating RPA challenges is to identify the RPA suitable areas when it comes to implementing RPA. We would want to draw a roadmap in terms of what could be a solution in terms of RPA. We would want to get expertise guidance. Periodic upkeeping recommendation is are a few best practices that any organization would want to adopt to. So having covered these, I would perhaps thank you all for joining in. I would pretty much welcome questions. So Manish,
Yeah,
would you
thanks,
go ahead?
Satyajit. Thanks for the insightful presentation.
Thank you.
I can see there are a few questions,
Perfect.
and we have a few minutes, so I'll just read out these questions one by one. Not too many, but just two, three.
Sure.
And so the first question I can see is from Saurav, asking, like, based on the uh, areas of application which you have mentioned in the beginning for
Right.
RPA. What do you think? Which one is the best to start to get maximum uh, mileage in the beginning? And does it have any impact on the RPA adoption success in any organization?
Uh, I would want to understand that question a little more. However, I think what I understand is whether, of course, when we talk about applications, would it actually mean in terms of the applications which are used for the business processes to actually run?
I think what this question points is towards the area of application which was mentioned, the different areas of application in your one of your slides in the
Right,
beginning.
right,
It is pointing towards that. Uh, so in the beginning of the journey, does it make sense to start with one particular area of application, in
right,
terms of
right.
RPA
Yes,
automation?
yes, absolutely. Thank you for uh, clearing that out. Yes, yes, of course. We would definitely want to look at low-hanging fruits. We would definitely want to first get into maybe one process of when we talk about RPA as a journey and everything. We would definitely want to say that what happens pretty much over here is, so we will want to get into a certain process. We would want to automate that process. We would want to ensure that we show that the product is capable, and whether, of course, the business need is actually satisfied. That is definitely one of the areas to do, and that is exactly where we would want to break it down in terms of applications to a POC, to see whether, of course, these would drive value. And yes, if it drives value, would then that is, the businesses would then want to adopt it, or then want to look at the next few stages. The initial stage is the most difficult stage as per anybody's experience, because let's say, for example, it is a human tendency to first not accept anything, not only in terms of changes, but any technology that is actually given, and not only technology, talk about just anything. So it is very important that one proves to others that yes, we are capable, and this tool is capable of doing certain tasks. Once that is achieved, we will then want to show it, as in we would want to do more farming in those accounts to say that yes, this is where we can spread our branches around in other processes or sub processes, connect those processes to the main stream processes, and I have a full-fledged RPA adoption plan.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks, Satyajit. So there is another question from Srinath Thavli. He is thanking you for the wonderful presentation, and his question is like, how do you do the tool selection? Any pointers on that?
Right.
If
Now,
you could answer quickly, yeah, on
yeah.
that, because I know
Now,
it's going to be.
I know this is a breadth of question, and thoughts may go out of the window. Honestly, Srinath. However, I appreciate your question. So, comparison factors, we will definitely want to look at what the features and functionalities are. For example, when we look at certain processes, we would want to look at process mining and other capabilities. For an example, when we look at, let's say, for example, when we deal with processes which have invoices, we would want to look at OCR and ICR, that is optical character recognition and intelligent character recognition capabilities. So it depends. It depends completely upon the nature of processes that you actually run in your businesses. However, yes, I really appreciate that question. So there has to be due diligence that needs to be done to find out and compare each of these products to say, yeah, these stand out, and amongst them, find out, of course, what could be the use cases or case studies where certain challenges in other organizations have been provided or met by using those technologies.
Yeah, Satyajit. So I'll just uh, take one more
Sure.
question. And since we are kind of now towards the end of the session and running
Sure.
out of time now, just a couple of minutes we have. So this question is like, Robert is asking, any formula to uh, identify cases for automation for RPA? Is there any set formula?
So that's a brilliant question. If you ask me honestly, there is no perfect or imperfect RPA solution. Honestly speaking, what we can talk about is an ideal situation. We would look at ideal tools, like I answered in my previous question, that we would want to look at the most appropriate tools in terms of selection. We would want to look at whether, of course, you would require to re-engineer your process even before you do get your RPA rolled out, because it's very important, and I always keep re-emphasizing on this, that look at automating value added work and not waste. So that is very important. Well, if these are considered in certain processes, robots do not need certain assistances also in certain given processes. For an example, maker checker. You don't need a maker checker in a process that is driven by a bot, because you do not require what manual errors humans make. Robots would not do them, because robots just do as per whatever they are guided to do. So it's very important to break those down. There's not a real formula, but what's very important also is to break down certain calculations in terms of your infrastructure requirements, in terms of your bot sizing, in terms of your entire automation scaling as well as sizing, to be very honest with you. And that's exactly where I think you would need a trained team, not only in terms of implementation but also in terms of consulting, where SOIS definitely provides to a lot of end users as well today. And I have seen the team having and providing consultation services in terms of a business analysis and development, solution architecture, and so on and so forth. So very important to actually say that this is perhaps the concluding aspect of it to answer this question. What's very important is to say that a solutioning is very important, as vital as it is to build the solution itself. So discovery is the most important part. And I would say, unless of course we know what is the kind of process, what the nature is, everything, calculating anything underlining below would be quite difficult. We have to dig in through. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you though.
Thanks, Satyajit, for answering that. Uh, so I would so this is the end of questions, and I would thank everyone for making time to attend this session. We would be sharing the recording of this session in a couple of days' time with all of you. And once again, thank you very much. Have a good day, good evening. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, it was wonderful. Thank you very much. Amazing set of questions. So, really look forward to with you all and talking to you all more. And also looking forward to hearing from you. You can always reach out to us by writing to us at contact us at sois.com, and we'll try to answer all of your questions and have discussions further if essential as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. Thank you.